Good day everyone, I'm Sharmaine Cordova from BSN Math 3 and today I'm going to report about the educational system here in the Philippines. It is said that the Philippine educational system has been greatly influenced by other countries such as Japan, Spain, and America during colonial times. And let's see now what is the education system here in the Philippines. Chapter 1, Formal Education. In Section 19, Declaration of Policy, the state recognizes that formal education, or the school system, is society's primary learning system and therefore the main instrument for the achievement of the country's educational goals and objectives. In Section 20, Definition, Formal Educational, it refers to the hierarchically structured and chronologically graded learning organized and provided by the formal school system and for which certification is required in order for the learner to progress through the grades or move to higher levels. Formal education shall correspond to the following levels. The first one is the elementary education. So this is the first stage of compulsory formal education, primarily concerned with providing basic education and usually corresponding to 6 or 7 grades, including preschool programs. This is the first stage of education provided to children, and also this is the level of education divided into 4-year primary cycle, which is the grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and grade 4. And there is 2-year intermediate cycle, which is the grade 5 and grade 6. The second one, the secondary education, this is the stage of formal education following the elementary level concerned primarily with continuing basic education and expanding it to include the learning of employable, gainful skills, usually corresponding to 4 years of high school. So after the elementary education, secondary education were given to students, and also the level of education here in this stage is quite higher. The third one is the tertiary education. So it is the post-secondary schooling is higher education leading to a degree in a specific profession or discipline. So it is where we belong now. We are in our higher learning, higher education, and also this is the time also that we are being prepared for the future or for the course or program we have taken, so that we can be competent enough for the future. And here also it mentioned that this is the stage wherein we got a degree. So it is the final phase of students' education after the secondary education, and is one of the requirements also to get an employment after to be employed after rather. Next we have the Section 21, the objectives of elementary education. The objectives of elementary education are: number 1, to provide the knowledge and develop the skills, attitudes, and values essential to personal development and necessary for living in and contributing to a developing and changing social milieu. So during the elementary days of the students, it is also very critical and very important for the children, especially because they are trying to figure out about what is in the world, and also what values they have to take, what is wrong and right, and also they are still developing personally, and also they are still trying to figure out what they like and what skills they have. And so it's very important for children during this time that they were being provided with enough knowledge according to their capabilities and also situations, and in order for them to grow well, and also learn values that is very important in living as an individual in the future. The second one is to provide learning experiences which increase the child's awareness of their of and responsiveness to the changes and unjust demands of society, and to prepare him for constructive and effective involvement. So in the early days, also elementary educations, there are some activities also given to the pupils, interactive activities. It seems like they're playing, but actually during that time they're also learning, learning, learning about the society, learning about how things work, and also because of this involvement, effective involvement of the children to the to the knowledge about the world, about the people, about the culture, like that. So the responsiveness and the awareness of the students being is being enhanced, or they're being improved. The next one, number 3, to promote and intensify the child's knowledge of, identification with, and love for the nation and people to which he belongs. And so during the younger years also, though the children are very young, and also they still love to play like that, but the teachers also find a way to present to them how what is the nation they're living in, and also what are the people, different kinds of people they're living in. During this time, the knowledge of student and will improve, and also about the national identity, they will recognize what is Filipino, what is being like a Filipino, and also what are different kinds of people living here in the country, and also how things work out. And number 4, to promote work experiences which develop the child's orientation to the world of work and creativity, and prepare himself to engage in honest and gainful work. Now let's continue. Section 22, Objectives of Secondary Education. The objectives of secondary education are: number 1, to continue to promote the objectives of elementary education. So it is the continuation still. The objectives in the education in the elementary are still used in the secondary education. Number 2, to discover and enhance the different aptitudes and interests of the student so as to equip him with skills for productive endeavor and to prepare him for tertiary schooling. So during the secondary education, it is also the time that the students are given the chance and opportunity to know what skills they have, and also what skills they still need to discover within them. So it is done through different activities programs conducted by schools, as well as some tests, and also lectures and discussions done by the teachers to nurture the students. So we also remember before, when we are in high school, we also had a test to know what things we like to do, what is our interest in life, and the result of the test also help us decide what program we will get in the college, and also in high education. Now let's move on to section 23, the objective of tertiary education. The objective of tertiary education are: number 1, to provide a general education program that will promote national identity, cultural consciousness, integrity, and spiritual vigor. So through general education program being teach to tertiary students the skills and also the knowledge of students will grow even more, and they will have awareness, and also their national identity, they were even more clear about this, and the cultural consciousness, which is the differences students can also know. It also helps students to have a firm stand on their moral values and integrity, and it all helps students in many ways, especially in their profession when they will be working in the future, and as well as to be good citizens in the country. Number 2, to train the nation's manpower in the skills required for national development. So here in the tertiary education also, the students were being trained to be equipped with skills that is required in the society for the employment and for the improvement of the country. The third one, to develop the professions that will provide leadership for the nation. Number 4, to advance knowledge through research work and apply new knowledge for improving the quality of human life and responding effectively to changing societal needs and conditions. So here, also in tertiary education, we're doing some research works, and some of this work is not just for us to comply to our teachers and also to graduate and get a diploma, but it helps a lot also in many things, especially to resolving problems, finding out the factors of the problems, as well as how it affects the student, how it affects the people, and through this we will know what kind of methods or things we can use to resolve the problem, and it gives us really a wide knowledge about how to do things. Now let's move on to Chapter 2, Non-Education and Specialized Educational Services. In Section 24, Specialized Educational Service, the state further recognizes its responsibility to provide, within the context of the formal education system, services to meet special needs of certain clientele. These specific tasks, which shall be guided by the basic policies of the state embodied in general provisions of this Act, include: Number 1, work education or practical arts, as a program of education which aims to develop the right attitudes toward work and technical vocational education, post-secondary but non-degree programs leading to 1, 2, or 3-year certificates in preparation for a group of middle-level occupations. Work education, this kind of education, though it doesn't have any degree, it is non-degree programs, but it is very vital in the society as well as for the employment and the economy of the Philippines, because they offer some goods and services. They can help in the manufacturing process as well as on making clothes or social services, which is also very important in the country. So number 2, special education, the education of persons who are physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, or culturally different from the so-called normal individuals, that they require modification of school practices, services to develop them to their maximum capacity. There are people who are born with disability, like they are already deaf, blind, and some also they get it from the accident, and some are mentally unstable, also they have problem with it, and some also have Down syndrome, autism, and they are provided also with the needs they have through special education. So what is the importance of this also? Because special education, it is also those students with disability, it is a good environment for them that will help them to keep on growing in an environment that is also good for them according to their situation. And so even though they are not as like normal humans, but they still have chance and opportunity to go and explore whatever skills they have through special educations. And so we can also see from the news, the television, there are some activities or programs that were being offered to people, to special people like them, so that they can still work and they can still study, and also they can still live like a normal person. So they are not left behind through special education. Next one, and the last one, is the non-formal educations. Any organized school-based educational activities undertaken by the Ministry of Education, Culture and Sports, and other agencies aiming at attaining specific learning objectives for a particular clientele, especially the illiterates and the out-of-school youth and adult, distinct from and outside the regular offerings of the formal school system. So non-formal education, so it is learning outside the traditional classroom, or it is learning outside the formal school system. And we know there are some families, they cannot go, our students, they cannot go to school, or there are some parents, they cannot afford to let their children go to school, and so some of the students decided to stop studying, and also some decided to go to work at early age or do things to earn money. But through non-formal education here also, though they are not in the school or school setting or school environment, but they can still able to learn through this kind of education. And next, the objectives of non-formal education are as follows. A. To eradicate illiteracy and raise the level of functional literacy of the population. B. To provide unemployed and underemployed youth and adults with appropriate vocational, technical skills to enable them to become more productive and effective citizens. So the example of this also, who provides education like the technical vocational skills, is the TESDA. And there are so many people already taking the vocational course in TESDA, and they are doing their part now in the society, doing work, and it increased employment in the country also. And last, C. To develop among the clientele of non-formal education proper values and attitudes necessary for personal, community, and national development. And that is all I have for today. Thank you for taking time for watching the video.